Hello, everyone. This week it's movie time on Future Forward. Two films that are already courting controversy.
Mulan, which I loved, and The Social Dilemma, which terrifies me.
Then someday then same day of election reporting scenarios. Speaking of scary,
And Japan's robots are now doing real sci-fi things.
and that's from our friends at IEEE. I'm Steve Rosenbaum.
I'm Alexa Scordato. Let's
Let us launch. Oh, sorry. That's my. I'm still getting used to Sunday morning. I have to say, it's like I have my coffee. Uh, Everyone who is joining us live, we are always looking for interaction from the audience. We want to answer your questions. We want to talk to you. We want you to participate. We want you to tell us we got it wrong. With that, we are going to dive into a 3-act show. And the first act, I have to say, here I know nothing about Mulan. I did not know that it was coming, and I don't actually even think I entirely understand. Like, tell me the story of why you were expecting to love it.
So, probably controversial, but I actually have loved all of the live action Disney remakes. I saw Aladdin in the theater. I loved Jungle Book. I grew up watching a Disney movie every summer in June as a birthday, like a birthday party. My mom would take me and my best friends to the theater to watch a Disney movie. And so Mulan was sort of up there as just a character I identify with. It's a story of a young woman in China who doesn't want to sort of be this like traditional woman. She wants to go fight in the army. And so that's the story. Anyway, I was looking forward to this. I was excited. Disney decided to release it at a premium for $30. And I was going to invite my friends to come watch this on my rooftop because I bought a projector, and we were going to order some food. And then this controversy hit, and I was devastated. No Mulan for me.
So, part of the challenge of doing big blockbuster movies is that the two big blockbuster markets for movies are the US and China.
Yeah.
And so one can imagine the meetings that Disney execs had trying to figure out how to shoehorn this Chinese story, into the modern, complex Chinese political situation.
Yep.
But even with all those meetings and all those lawyers, it does appear they just totally fucked it up.
I think it's really hard. Like you're so intertwined. I mean, this is the same controversy that the NBA is getting with China as well, right?
But hold on, but let's drill down on the Mulan thing, because what were the mistakes that were made? Like, it wasn't just in the scripting.
No, it wasn't just in the scripting at all. If you, again, I did not watch this actual film because of this controversy. I went on Twitter one day and saw boycott Mulan trending, and I said, oh no. So the film credits actually thank 8 Chinese provinces, including one that is basically responsible for all of the Uyghur internment camps.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So for our listeners who don't know the Uyghur story, and we debated it, we've decided it's pronounced Uyghur, but if we're wrong, just jump in the comments and correct us. This is a Chinese minority that the government has been trying to, quote, re-educate. And NPR has done, a lot of people have done extraordinary reporting on it, but it's really terrifying, and it's not particularly debatable as an issue.
Right.
So not only did Disney shoot there, this was over 2 years ago, but then they thanked the province that is the home of these concentration camps.
Yep.
Which would be the equivalent of saying, hey, appreciate Auschwitz for letting us stop by, shoot our film during the terrible, the smoke coming out of those stacks was really it's really it's heartless and dangerous. And I think protesters are right to call Disney out for this, for sure.
And then I wasn't actually aware of it, but I guess previously also the lead actress had shown support for Hong Kong law enforcement, basically taking action against pro-democracy protesters in Hong Kong. And so this boycott Mulan movement had actually started even earlier than people being aware of the credits.
So you're never going to watch it?
I don't think so. I mean, maybe not. Maybe I could watch it. I would watch it for free. Like, I don't want to give Disney money, and I don't want to sort of endorse and support in this moment.
That's fascinating. So for a variety of reasons, I've been thinking a lot about whether or not any content can be a hit without a controversy.
Wow. So it's almost like any news is good news, right?
Well, if the headline had been Mulan movie, really great, audiences really like it, great acting, great writing, that's not news. Like man bites dog, news. Dog bites man, not news. So I think one of the challenges that everyone in the storytelling business faces is you want a controversy because that's going to put you on the front page and it's going to create some buzz, but you don't want the controversy to be so irredeemable that it destroys your audience.
Yeah, but I don't know if that's an excuse. Like journalists could easily say like theaters might never recover. Disney has its second streaming hit of the summer. Following Hamilton, Mulan is beloved by audiences everywhere.
Right, but that would be the article after there's ticket sales. I'm talking about so which brings me to our second film of the morning as we do our movie review episode, The Social Dilemma. So this is Tristan Harris's film. He's not the director, but he is the driving force behind it. And he in and of himself is a fascinating story.
Yes, he's an ethicist, tech ethicist.
Yes. who became increasingly troubled by things they were doing at Google, wrote a blockbuster internal report, unrequested, sent it around the company, created a lot of internal questions about essentially attention hacking, growth hacking, and then realized that Google wasn't going to change a bit, and quit and went and started the Center for Humane Technology, and is now routinely kind of called the ethical keeper of the flame.
Like the only person in tech with a conscience or something.
Yeah. So the movie came out 3 days ago. I've already gotten 15 emails about it from different sources. So Tristan says quite pointedly he wants this movie to be the inconvenient truth, what the inconvenient truth was to the climate change movement. He wants it to be the organizing tentpole of a movement. And much like climate change, I think why he used that as an analogy is that if you remember the movie, I mean, there's not simple answers at the end. Like it's a big, scary problem. And then at the end, it's not, recycle your trash. It's not like do these three things and the globe, it's a big, hard, gnarly problem. And I think that he's trying to get away from playing whack-a-mole with it's the Russians, it's Facebook, it's Twitter, that it's hate speech. Like it's not any of those things. And this is what my friend Roger McNamee has been saying for as long as I can remember, quite publicly, which is the whole business is built on this flawed business principle that the more they make you engage in garbage, the more they can sell your attention.
Yep. I mean, we have talked about this on the show through the lens of Facebook's responsibility or Google's responsibility. And I think we've always said that the business is inherently flawed, right? Because the product, the thing that these companies sell, is the attention and sort of the behavioral or perceptional changes that we as consumers take as a result of seeing content.
So I was searching for something the other day on the web, and I hadn't looked in a while, but on Google search, the first page was all ads, sponsored results. The second page was all ads, sponsored results. And the third page was all ads, sponsored results.
Yeah, that's not surprising. And
yeah,
then,
but that's not search. Let's just be clear about what that is. That's, I'm asking for, a new pair of shoes. I'm searching for actually a part for a product I have, and people are paying Google not to be objective or show me the best result or the one that's gotten the most likes or but really to pay the person who paid Google the most money gets my attention.
right, they're paying to cut the line. And then what's actually even more troubling than that, well, not more troubling, but just as troubling, is that even the organic, like the non-paid search results for Google, there's also built-in spend and kind of like marketing wizardry that happens, which is search engine optimization. And it's a craft. There's specialists and practitioners who do that. And so in some ways, it's like the consumer is never centered in terms of the algorithm. It's like it's not really about surfacing the best, most reliable content anymore. It's almost about who has the biggest advertising dollars or who has the most dollars to invest in like content and marketing savvy.
So let's talk about that for a second. So, we're both watching the movie. I'm, I don't know, 2/3 through, you're halfway through. Do you think it has a happy ending?
Definitely not. It's like climate change. It's like an inconvenient truth. Like we're in it, And for me, it's like I work in tech. I run a growth team. I'm tasked with, acquiring new users, driving engagement, and generating money. Luckily, I work for an organization that is not driven by advertising dollars. We have a subscription product. So in some ways, I can feel absolved. But being part of the tech industry as a whole, watching this movie, I think I could only watch half of it because I felt guilty and complicit. Not that I've worked at Google, Facebook, Instagram, Pinterest, or any of the other companies they talked about, but I feel like we have really celebrated and rewarded these companies.
So, a couple things about the movie. It's hard to not notice, given the BLM world that we are currently in and will be in, I hope, for a very long time, that every single character in the film was, with the exception of one person in the first half, were white males.
Yep.
And they seem, I found myself thinking, okay, you're troubled by this. You worked at Facebook, Twitter, Google, whatever. You quit when you were troubled enough, and you took your, millions of dollars that you'd earned, and you donated it to charity and got a job at a deli making, bagels and coffee. No, you took your, you can only, I didn't hear a lot of those people talking about how they've taken what they learned and turned it into, maybe they're trying to, is there a product out there that will I think the economics are so corrupting that I'm not sure that there's a simple way out.
I think that's what I'm saying. Even if you are not directly involved, it's like we are perpetuating. You're an entrepreneur. I worked at startups. It's like I think the entire game of like taking VC money, of making promises to grow, of trying to scale. I mean, I think in some ways that's sort of this undercurrent, right? It's like we don't really know what to do about it because it is so rampant.
Which brings me to the news that I think I shared this with you last week, but if I didn't, I will share it now, and if I did, I will share it again, and probably again a bunch more times. So Tristan is incredibly passionate and smart and interesting, and is going to be the lead keynote speaker on day one of our third day upcoming summit at the NYC Media Lab.
It's awesome.
Yeah, the timing couldn't be better. People are going to have a lot of questions for him. He's presenting on Wednesday, the 7th. He'll be our opening keynote of the day, and then we have a panel after him about big ideas to fix the internet. And the reason we did it that way is because we know he's going to have suggestions and thoughts, and that's great. We haven't seen his talk yet. So, but we also wanted to ask people to come on and be able to speak passionately and clearly about things we can do. So for example, we have as one of our ways to fix the internet presenters, Cory Doctorow, who I adore and who is brilliant and a brilliant sci-fi writer and a brilliant thinker. And he's laser beam focused on disassembling this phrase that I've been hearing more and more, surveillance capitalism.
Mm-hmm.
But anyway, if you haven't signed up yet, please do. The tickets are free. Just go to nycmedialab.org and then go to our event section. I guess I could put it in the comments somewhere. But we've already got, I think, 900 attendees. We're expecting well over 1,000. So please do attend if you can. All right. So anything more to say about Social Dilemma other than how do people? Here's a question: what if you're not a Netflix subscriber?
Ooh, that's a good question. I guess one, go to your event so you can hear Tristan Harris say it himself. If you're not a Netflix subscriber, I mean, I think the movie does a really good job of breaking down concepts and sort of headlines that, I don't know, I would encourage anyone to sort of bring up proactively with friends and family. I mean, I think the movie is perfectly timed with, the lead up to the election. And so this is it.
All right. So let's jump to the election. So this is an article you found. I've been selective about my election reading because I'm trying to act rather than just be overwhelmed. I'm doing less doom scrolling. So talk about this article and what you think matters here.
So the New York Times basically just put together a rundown of election day scenarios. I don't think any of it is new necessarily. Obviously, it has all of these graphics that I think are triggering for those of us who stayed up in 2016 to watch the election results. In some ways, I found this is like the New York Times making fun of itself. I mean, okay, if I were to be doom and gloom, one way to interpret this article is look at all the things that can go wrong. But I'm feeling optimistic and happy this morning. And so I will say, you should read this article because it actually illustrates that there are people who are aware of this and are hopefully working really hard to make sure that these scenarios don't happen. So
Pam signed up to be a poll worker. And because I do think one of the big issues is going to be, I mean, in my neighborhood, the poll workers have all historically been 75 or 80-year-old retirees who go and spend a day looking at the book and signing it, but the interesting thing is when you sign up to be a poll worker, they won't tell you that you're going to be a poll worker in your neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So they say that they can send you anywhere in the 5 boroughs.
Yep.
Well, that's a problem for us because she's willing to walk to her neighborhood polling place with a mask and gloves on and a face shield, but she's not willing to get on a subway and go to Brooklyn.
Right.
So I don't know who's managing that, but just a heads up to the people recruiting poll workers, you can ask people to sign up, but if you tell them they're going to Astoria and you're going to spend 12 hours in Astoria and have to go on public transport, you might find that you're not going to have poll workers. I think there are a number of doomsday scenarios that I think about, but the one that I think is going to be the hardest to address is the day Axios had an article. I don't have it in front of me, but Axios had an article a week or so ago, which case they said the vote the day of the election is going to look bright red, and the vote the next day is going to look blue, or 3 days later. And they had a whole scenario about how people that are concerned about healthcare or about pre-existing conditions or about not dying are going to mail in their ballots, and people that think it's a hoax and a fake are going to wander into the polling place, mask off, cough on their neighbors and vote. They didn't say that, by the way. I made that up. But what happens when the initial vote says Trump is the landslide winner and Fox declares him the winner?
Yeah. That is a nightmare. And that wasn't in this article, but that's probably up there.
I mean, will Fox do that? Will Fox declare the election before the mail-in votes are counted?
Sure. I mean, I think there's a chance. I mean, this article talks about basically almost 3 categories. There's Russian interference, misinformation, basically like average citizens just perpetuating it. And then third is almost like just the big category of voter suppression, whether that's a lack of poll workers, a lack of uncounted votes, and sort of, think back to Bush versus Gore, but like 10 times worse, which is what I think you're referring to with this Axios example. Yeah, I don't know.
I think you should read the article. I think we'll put it in the show notes. You should. All right. So now we've got just a few minutes left. Let us move to Japan, if we can, and robots. So these are 2 articles from our friends at IEEE Spectrum. Both of them, I don't know. Is it possible to do this pivot to pleasant sci-fi after election fraud? I'm not sure.
I think that's our move. That's like our playbook. Like whenever something's depressing, let's just end on robots.
I think so Japan is on track to introduce flying taxi service in 2023. So you got to take a minute and remember that 2023 is actually like the day after tomorrow. It looks like a sci-fi number, but we are already about to be in 2021. So it's 2 years and a couple of months from now. This seems entirely believable to me. I think I would get in a flying taxi tomorrow.
I mean, how do you feel about like Uber copters?
Meaning the old like actual copters, or meaning
you didn't have if you had unlimited funds, I mean, are you comfortable going to the heliport in Manhattan and then taking a helicopter to like the Hamptons?
I am, although I have to say, looking at this cute little copter image, it seems way safer than the big bladey things, which always seem to be a little bit like an egg beater with humans hanging off the bottom of them.
Yeah.
I guess I've never really felt like, I mean, I like a hovercrafty helicopter, low to the ground. I mean, I don't know how that works. Like if you have a city with Can you imagine? So would that mean there would be like air layers? Would Broadway have like a ground layer and then a middle layer and then a top layer, and you have to come up
Yeah,
with some?
I almost imagine if you were walking on the High Line in Chelsea, you have these hovercrafts flying perpendicular. I'm not parallel to you.
I think, again, I think driverless cars in New York as taxis would also make perfectly good sense. I'd be fine with that tomorrow. I don't know why they don't exist already. When you press the Uber button and the Uber vehicle zips up in front of your house in 3 minutes, I don't know why it has to have a driver in it. Sorry, Uber drivers. I didn't mean to be insulting.
Yeah. This is the Jetsons, though, and it's here.
All right. So this is Japan. So flying taxis by 2023. And then this last article, which also made a lot of sense, robots that will restock shelves.
And it looks like a cat.
Yeah, they did decide, although it looks like the head is too small for the body. But so Japan is interesting, right? Because they've got a problem of reduction in young people, right?
They're the most rapidly aging countries in the world.
They also have great technology, and if you're one of the handful of young people that's looking for a job in Japan, stocking shelves is probably not the job you want to do. So make a cat robot do it.
Yeah.
I want to see, is there a video? Yes, there's a video.
So this didn't even surprise me because, I mean, you basically have this, they're not cute like this, but there are robots in Amazon warehouses, right? Like things that go to the different shelves and restock or pull things off, right?
Yeah, although I guess as you dig into this story, it's not as much a robot as it is a robot being operated by a guy wearing, see, this I don't like as much. Now that I'm actually seeing the video, like it's not a shelf stacking robot. It's a guy sitting in a helmet with remote sensors picking up things and putting them on shelves.
But you know what, Steve, to your point though about the changing population, this is great for employment when it comes to disabled people or the elderly. Like I could see my 86-year-old grandma doing this from her couch, and she'd probably be really entertained by it.
Okay, but in real life, what it probably is Japan jobbing out the shelf stacking to low-paid foreign workers.
Maybe
in a digitally connected. I mean, I'm not going to say which one I think it is, but I think we both could guess who. I mean, I don't think these are going to be Japanese, shelf workers. I don't know. I'm just watching this guy's motions. It seems like a lot of effort. I don't know. I'm not. I liked it better when it was fully autonomous.
Well, they might get there eventually, but it might need, say, human operators to actually help program the hardware.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to robot taxis as my favorite kicker piece of the day, because robot taxis could work today. All right. Well, with that, we have blown through another half hour. We've talked about two of our favorite movies, not one favorite-ish, but sad. The other favorite, but not watchable. Then we've talked about the New York Times and the doom scroll election problem. And then we talked about robot taxis. Yay.
Good summary.
Yeah. We will be back again next week. Always looking forward to your comments, feedback, suggestions. Until then, bye, Alexa.
See you.